My name is Farooq Khan, and on behalf of the Interfaith Institute of Long Island, I'm delighted to welcome all of you to this very special program. Interfaith Institute was launched in October 2015 to help break down barriers between communities and stress the commonalities among various groups and faiths. Interfaith Institute has held many programs in person. However, over the past 2 years, all our programs have been virtual, which is both a challenge and a blessing. Interfaith Institute has learned that learning about holidays has been very effective in accomplishing the objectives I just mentioned. Today's program is a good example, and allow me to explain further why Interfaith Institute is hosting a multi-faith program on Diwali. In April 2019, at the suggestion of board member Benjamin Rifkin, Interfaith Institute held the Passover celebration in a mosque at the Islamic Center of Long Island. After learning about the Jewish perspective of Passover, which is exodus from oppression, slavery in Egypt to freedom, we invited presentations from Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Jainism, and Sikhism about their respective perspectives on dealing with oppression. The presentations were written up and are available for those who like to have a copy. Just to cite one example from that presentation, Dr. Pana Shah, our moderator for today, reflecting on the Jain perspective of dealing with oppression, cited the example of Satyagraha, truth, non-violence taught by Jain monk Srimad Rajachandra, which inspired Mahatma Gandhi, who led the non-violence movement for India's independence. This in turn inspired Martin Luther King, who in turn led the non-violent resistance for civil rights in the United States. This Passover event was greatly appreciated and was followed by a celebration of Eid al-Adha, which commemorates the sacrifice Prophet Abraham, who was willing to follow the divinely inspired instruction to sacrifice his son Ishmael. In addition to the Islamic perspective of dealing with sacrifice, we heard other faith perspectives. These two events laid the foundation for today's multi-faith celebration of Diwali, celebration of light over darkness, good over evil, knowledge over ignorance, with additional perspective from many faiths. The Interfaith Institute Secretary, Dr. Pana Shah, and her team have developed a great program. My thanks to her, the Interfaith Board members, Dr. Badra Shah, Anu Bindra, Eric Larson, and guests Bakul Matalia, and Dr. Jayana Clark. At the end of the Diwali program, the Interfaith Institute President, Dr. Umi Mupan, will present the Interfaith Award to Rais Buyan, who is a living example of light over darkness, love over hate, and knowledge over ignorance. The success and outreach of Interfaith Institute program is the result of the dedicated board members who bring ideas, energy, support to the Institute. One such member is Professor Marjana Isapur, who provides vital technical support for the Interfaith Institute webinar and Zoom programs. Thanks, Marj. Now I turn it over to Dr. Pana Shah, who will lead us through the program and introduce the speakers and the various technical programs that they have developed. Thank you for your presentation and presence.
Nabin, you are on mute. You are mute.
Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, and many others in India and all over the world. Diwali is widely associated with Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity, with many other regional traditions connecting to goddess Sita and Lord Ram. Furthermore, it is in some regions a celebration of the day Lord Ram returned to his kingdom Ayodhya with his wife Sita and his brother Laxman after defeating Ravan in Lanka and serving 14 years of exile. Diwali festival usually lasts 5 days and is celebrated during the Hindu calendar month also in Kartika, between mid-October and mid-November. One of the most popular festivals of Hindus. Diwali symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. During Diwali, people wear their finest clothes, illuminate the interior and exterior of their homes with diyas and rangoli, perform worship ceremonies of Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity and wealth, light fireworks, and partake in family feasts, where mithai, sweets, and gifts are shared. Om Jai Lakshmi Mata. In Jain Dharma, Diwali is celebration of Tirthankar Mahavira's contributions to humankind. It commemorates Mahavira's attainment of moksha or salvation and Nahara's Pavpuri. During Diwali celebrations, Jains decorate their temples and homes with lights. Diwali illuminates the temple of heart and reveals the horizon of the inner heart. Jain entrepreneurs launch their accounting year from Diwali after doing Lakshmi Pujan. The Jain year commences with Pratipada following Diwali. Sikh community celebrates Diwali as Bandi Chor Divas. The festival is celebrated as a Sikh historic event related to the sixth Guru, Guru Hargobind. According to history, on this day, Guru Hargobind was able to secure the release of 52 kings imprisoned by Mughal Emperor Jahangir. The Bandi Chor Divas is celebrated by lighting of homes and gurdwaras, celebratory processions, Nagar Kirtan, and Langar community kitchen. It is an important Sikh celebration along with Vaisakhi, Olan Mohala, and Guru Purab. The significance of Diwali celebration is austerity, simplicity, serenity, equity, calmness, charity, philanthropy, and togetherness. Dr. Panna, you on?
Yes. Good afternoon. Happy Diwali. Welcome all of you. Just a second, I hear some echo. I'm so sorry. Impressed upon the childhood memories in India and witnessing glamour and glory during Diwali, Dr. Farooq Khan's vision was, do you hear the echo, Vadraben? Yes, just a second. Go inside, my mail is I would like to begin again. Happy Diwali. Good afternoon. Thank you very much to Dr. Khan and IFI to give us this opportunity to bring in interfaith Diwali. So, impressed upon the childhood memories in India and witnessing glamour and glory during Diwali, Dr. Farooq Khan's vision was to revive in the interfaith setting. We hope to make that vision come alive. Most world religions include joyous festivals that have long cultural history along with religious significance. Celebrations may vary from region to region. Festival of Lights or Diwali is one such fun, colorful event celebrated by Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, Brahma Kumaris, and Buddhists in India. It emphasizes light over darkness and good over evil and is filled with food festivities and religious ceremonies. Diwali is celebrated primarily in South Asia. Now many of us celebrate it globally, and at this moment, we are on Zoom due to the pandemic. We need to celebrate interfaith unity and stand against faith-based violence. Religious diversity need to be celebrated. Message of togetherness and inclusivity reflects true spirit of Diwali and erases abstract boundaries that divide us. So we just witnessed in the video clipping all the different symbols of Diwali. I will re-enumerate: Ganesh, Bindi, Rangoli, Namaste, lotus flower, temple entrances, oil lamps, and Om. Om symbolizes the universe and ultimate reality. Clay lamps or diya are displayed in homes. Homes are thoroughly cleaned to welcome goddess of wealth or Lakshmi. Rangoli, a colorful design, it's made from flour, powder, rice, grain, and to decorate doorways to welcome Lakshmi. Families get together and share and exchange sweets. Families greet each other with Shubh Diwali, which means Happy Diwali. Everyone buys new clothes to celebrate, and all try to put aside their differences and celebrate their relationships. So, some of the themes that we celebrate during Diwali are good over evil, light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, hope over despair. So, with this, I would wish Happy Diwali to all and like to invite Mrs. Sangeeta Kulkarni, who is a Hindu and a long-time active member of multi-faith activities. Sangeeta. She should come. Oh, okay.
Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityomamritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And the translation is, "Oh Lord, please lead me from the unreal to real. Lead me from darkness to light. That is, from ignorance to knowledge. Lead me from death to immortality." Immortality is referred here as moksha. May there be peace, peace, peace.
You are muted, Panna.
Unmute.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Next, I like to invite Dr. Badra Shah, a Hindu. She is an obstetrics and gynecologist practicing in New York City. She is associated with Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement all over the world. Her life mission is to see God and serve God in human suffering. She has served at a charitable organization like Share and Care in New Jersey for 30 years. She is the president of Sati Foundation since 1995, supporting education and healthcare in India. And she is on New York Advisory Board for Akshay Patra, which provides meals to millions of children. She served as trustee and vice chair of Parliament of World Religion and has been very active in several interfaith institutions. She is also a recipient of many awards recognizing her work. Badraben.
Panna, I'm just delighted to be a part of this program, and thank you very much for inviting me and introducing me. I will start with little prayer for blessings for all. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May Brahman protect us all. May he nourish us all. May we work together with great energy. May our work be vigorous and fruitful. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now,
Badraben,
yes.
I would like to begin when we talk about the return of Lord Ram and his wife Sita to Ayodhya after killing Ravana. How do you describe this significance that's celebrated as Festival of Light? I also like to ask you, as to the symbolism of Diwali, can you describe Rangoli? And Diya, please explain the significance. Thank you.
Thank you, Panna. I will try my best. Okay. First of all, I just want to tell you that whatever I say is not all inclusive of Hindu perspective. It is not the view of any one Hindu religious leader or any expert in Hinduism or any expert on world religions. This is just my view as a common Hindu, the way I perceive and I understand. Now, as you say, what are we celebrating? I think what we are celebrating is the joy and happiness in our heart because of the homecoming of Rama, Sita, and Lakshman to Ayodhya after 14 years of exile, performing their innumerable duties, including defeating Ravana. The idea of celebration is the expressing the happiness and joy in our heart, that is merrymaking. We use just our best clothes, good food, pleasing to eyes and mouth watering. It may not be the good food health-wise. Meeting family and friends and share gifts, etc. This is just like all other celebration in our lives. If a baby is born or a graduation or marriage, we do all this, and just like that, that is what we are celebrating with the Diwali also. But what is more important, what is its significance and how does it transform our life? So Diwali is the victory over light, the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And how we show it. Now, this is one picture which really tells us a big story. This is Ravana is nothing but we as a human being, and these 10 heads are our weaknesses. And those weaknesses are depicted as lust. You can say lust, anger, delusion, greed, pride. All these are the negative weaknesses or negative qualities in our, and we all have that in a different proportions. Now, most of the times, this negative qualities comes in a very good form, golden, like a golden deer that came to Sita, and they look big and very attractive, and that is the reason why we get attracted. And here is the Ram. Ram represents.
Raman, please share your screen.
Huh?
You have to share your slides.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Share. It doesn't go back there. Oof. Okay. Share. I'm sorry, I forgot. This doesn't happen. Yes, now. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Oh,
But you
okay.
will have to go back to the first slide. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, what I was trying to say is the significance of, I will not go back all the way, but see, this is what I said, that what I'm presenting is as I perceived and understand. And this is what we are celebrating is homecoming of Rama, Sita, and Lakshman. And how we are celebrating, just like all other celebrations that we do with a good food and good clothes and all that, but that is common. And we do that also during the celebration that you saw in the video also. And now most important is what is the significance. And the significance of Diwali is this, which Panna also elaborated and we elaborated in video. And now here, this is what I was, that Rama, Sita, Rama Lakshman and who defeated Ravana, what is its significance? The Ravana signifies the human, our nature. We have some negative qualities, and these are the 10 heads are the negative qualities, and it may be many more than 10. We may have more negative qualities, somebody may have a less, and it is to a different, it could be more at some time, it could be less at some time, but we all have these different weaknesses in different proportions at different times. And usually we get attracted because all these negative weaknesses comes to us with a golden head and very attractive, and there always looks big. So people get attracted with the negatives more easily. And Rama represents the Paramatma and Lakshman represents the Lakshya. Lakshya is goal of our life. And once we know what is the goal of our life, then it becomes much easier. And how to move towards the goal of our life is, that is, Rama, after 14 years of exile and doing lots of difficult tasks, he came back, and that is what we are celebrating. And how he did it. He did it with austerity, simplicity, serenity, calmness, equity, charity, philanthropy. So how does that move? Okay, what is austerity? An austere way of life is one that is simple and without luxuries. It is on and on, undecorated, disciplined, which is very important, restrained, and focus on higher spiritual goal of life. And simplicity is, you can see the Sita and the hut. This is a simple way of living, and Sita is simple lady. And this is the way they spent 14 years. And after doing all their difficult tasks and defeating Ravana, he came back, and what he looks like, such a serene and calm person. Serenity is a state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Achieving this positive state of mind means you won't feel as troubled by life's ups and downs. And calmness is a mental state of being. And I think the time I understand we spent some time, but I have some important things to say. So I will go quickly. Now, equity and equality. So equality is that you provide everybody the same. And equity means the Lord provides the one who requires it. Everybody has a different circumstances and different capacity. So the Lord will provide what you need to achieve your goal. And that way, everybody can achieve their goal. And charity and philanthropy, the concept of charity is very, very important in Hinduism, because it is right thing to do. And it is what is, it means that you help somebody without expecting anything in return. And while charity is focused on providing immediate relief, while philanthropy is helping the people solving their problem over a long period of time. And togetherness, it is very important, because only one person can smile, we all together can laugh. This is all very important. And celebration means together. We have to share our happiness and joy, that is the togetherness. And as Panna asked me, what is the transformation? All I can say that after the rainstorm, how the rainbow comes, how the rainbow appears by sun shining onto the water droplets, shattering the white color into this colors of rainbow. And the same way, when the Ram comes home, or when our self-consciousness comes over the eye consciousness, means body consciousness, we use the same colors, what is in the rainbow, which shows the transformation of our life from eye consciousness to self-consciousness. And there is a hope of reaching our goal. Then Diya, significance of Diya, that Diya dispels the darkness for anyone, anywhere. No matter whether it's a temple, home, jail, or butcher house, and it is for anyone. There is no discrimination of age, gender, race, caste, creed, or even human, animals, and plants. The light, Diya gives the light to everyone equally. And Diya just gives light until death, and without expecting in return anything. Diya is giving without Liya. Liya is taking. And I just want to say that how we can achieve this, because all our habits get ingrained and it is so difficult, but we can do it. If we remove the H, a bit of habit remains. If we remove H and A, a bit still remains. If we remove H, A, and B, it still remains. But if we remove the I, that I consciousness, we offer ourselves to Paramatma, then only our old negative habits can be taken over, and then we can reach our goal. And I'm sorry, taking a little few minutes more, but I wish you all happy Diwali, and I'm sending this, my little hug, to all who are present with
It's
happy
nice.
Diwali. Thank you very much.
You will have to stop sharing, Badraben.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was a very, very enlightening presentation. And now I like to invite Mr. Bakul Matalia, a Jain. He's a retired pharmacist from Seville area and a strict follower and a student of Jain religion. He was a president of Long Island-based Gujarati organization for 6 years, and now is a volunteer of Long Island-based non-profit organization Shanti Fund, which promotes peace and non-violence following Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. So Bakul Bhai, I like to ask you a couple of questions related to Jainism and Diwali. So when we talk about Lord Mahavir's Nirvana and his contribution to humanity, what comes to mind about light over darkness or knowledge over ignorance? And Lord Mahavir emphasized self-realization in terms of right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. Tell us more as it applies to Diwali. Thank you.
Thank you, Panaban. Respected distinguished panelists and listening audiences. Lord Mahavir lived on this earth in 16th century BC. The social infrastructure in that Vedic era was deplorable. The caste system, women's subordination, and exploitation, including polygamy, was in general. Child marriage were norm. Lower caste people were untouchables and were outcasted. Kings were the final authority, and that led to mass exploitation of people in general. Religious proceedings were so complex and required multiple Brahmin priests. Also, many religious proceedings involved sacrificing animals to please various gods. Apart from these abuses, blind faith, relying on multiple gods for various favors, number of complicated rituals, seeking materialistic happiness from various gods, exploitation in name of religion, slavery, aggression, and violence were few other prevalent evil practice in Lord Mahavir's era. It is because of all this above social and spiritual degradation of society and individuals that led Lord Mahavir to first realize himself and then to elevate society to more egalitarian and non-violent approach. Lord Mahavir pondered over reforming society on basis of equality. Knowledge was property of upper class males only. There was caste and gender hierarchy. Human happiness was dependent on favor of God, which can only be pleased by animal or sometimes even the human sacrifice. Lord Mahavir can be considered as most ancient social and spiritual reformer. When we consider light over darkness or knowledge over ignorance, we can see that era was ignorant and dark in times of Lord Mahavir. Let us see what Lord Mahavir put forth in social and individual reforms. 1. He abolished the caste system. Lord Mahavir advocated abolition of caste systems in society. For this, he created Sangh or congregation, which was open to everyone and had place to grow equally. Second, gender equality. Equality was accorded to women in various spheres of life. Lord Mahavir not only offered equality to women, but he advocated equality amongst all living beings like animals, insect, vegetation, and even in environment. 3. Non-violence. Absolute faith in non-violence was the highest degree in Lord Mahavir's thought. Non-violence in thought, speech, and action, and applied to every living being. 4. This is fourth reform. Truth is multifaceted. So simply put, Lord Mahavir advocated to keep open mind. Consider truth has many sides. He taught to examine all sides of issue before taking a decision. Practical approach of this teaching is in conflict resolution. Fifth was the non-attachment. Greed is the main evil in human deterioration. To overcome greed and lead a life of discipline, he advocated non-attachment, or to have only needed possession, minimal possession. Sixth, he gave 3 principles: equality, equanimity, and eco-friendliness. 3 E's. We already learned the teaching of equality. Lord Mahavir advocated the principle of equanimity. Equanimity meaning the balanced mind. Balance of relationships can be sought by equanimity. Many times we not only react, but we overreact unnecessarily. Keeping equanimous solves the strained relationship. And the third E is the environment, eco-friendliness. Being friendly to environment preserves our precious resources on earth. 7th reform, what he came up is he liberated from social superstitions. Mahavir challenged many evil rituals. He taught us no one can blame for mishap happened in our life. Our own past karma dictates our fate. And last reform, one of the last, no exploitation of underprivileged or lower caste people. So yes, Tirthankar Mahavir can be considered most ancient social reformer in Indian tradition. So in true sense, Lord Mahavir brought us in light over darkness and knowledge over ignorance. And the second question that you asked, I'll just repeat the question in case if some didn't hear it. Lord Mahavir emphasized self-realization in terms of right faith, right knowledge, right conduct. Tell us more as it applies to Diwali. First of all, let's understand what self-realization means. Lord Mahavir emphasized on self-effort. He explained that I am the writer of my own destiny. I am the doer. I am the enjoyer, and I am the sufferer of my own activities. The faith in this concept that anything happens to me in this universe is because of my own act. I am, and only I am, is responsible for my fate and no one else. There is no divine intervention to help me or save me. This is right faith. Second, then he explained the science behind the faith. Lord Mahavir explained the relationship between the consciousness, meaning the soul, and the karma. Any activity undertaken by me produces good karma or bad karma. He explained the process or the science is how karma are bonded to consciousness and how karma are detached from consciousness. Lord Mahavir gave a clear concept of consciousness or the soul and how karma are bonded and released from consciousness. Karma are produced even by my thought and by my expression or speech and also by my action. Once I know this, it leads me to think no evil thoughts, leads me to speak in a non-hurtful manner, and then leads me to act in a kind way. By following this practice, I'm not producing bad karma. And this is the right knowledge. Now I know the right faith and right knowledge. But how do I put in a practice? So Lord Mahavir showed us a very simple way. First, he gave us a concept of non-violence. Mahavir explained that all souls are equal, from one sense organism to 5 sense humans with developed minds. No soul wants to suffer, and no soul has right to hurt any other soul. Lord Mahavir's concept of non-violence is not limited to only humans, but extends to every living beings, including humans, animal, insects, plants, vegetation, and even environment. Secondly, he gave us a concept of minimalization. He said that possess only what one needs, nothing extra. This removes the greed and anger. This principle proves biodiversity from greed. Thirdly, Lord Mahavir taught us to be tolerant, keeping open mind. He explained that truth has a multiple sides, and one cannot know all sides of truth. By understanding all sides of any issue, one can take the right decision. This principle is extremely important in conflict resolution and produces harmony in family, in society, and between the nations. Besides these cardinal principles, Mahavira also taught us to be compassionate, merciful, and helpful. So this is the right conduct or right practice. The second part of the question was, tell us more as it applies to Diwali. On the day of Diwali, omniscient Lord Mahavir died and obtained nirvana, or the liberation from the cycle of birth and death. We Jains called it moksha. Because the day of Diwali marks the sad demise of Lord Mahavira from this earth, for Jains, Diwali is not a festival or celebration. Rather, Jains observe the Diwali Parva. We called it Diwali Parva, not Diwali festival. Jains commemorate Mahavir's attainment and his contribution to humankind. We Jains remember his teachings to advocate gender equality, to live a compassionate or ethical life, which would help us elevate spiritually. Many Jains observe fast for 3 days during the Diwali time to offer tribute to Lord Mahavir's penance and sacrifice. Many devotees get together in Jain temples or in home and sing and chant and recite mantras from Jain scriptures. Diwali is marked by austerity, simplicity, quietness, calmness, charity, philanthropy, and being environmentally conscious. Therefore, Jains do not use firecrackers because they produce loud noise and pollute environment. In short, Jains observes Diwali by remembering teachings of Lord Mahavir and try to emulate his life. So this is the meaning of Diwali to Jains. Thank you, Panaban.
Thank you so much. It was really nice. Our next speaker is Sikh Anubindra. Due to some family emergency, she could not be here, but she has sent the video that I will display.
Partly because. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anu Bindra, and I represent the Sikh faith. Well, today we are here to discuss about Diwali, which is often referred to as the Hindu Festival of Light, but it is also celebrated by Sikhs around the world. As you just saw in the video clipping, Sikhs are celebrating Bandi Chhod Divas, which means Prisoners Release Day, which happens to be at the same time as Diwali every year, so the two are amalgamated. Well, the day is seen as a triumph of right over wrong and a tribute to the Guru who saved the lives of 52 Hindu kings without violence. It is believed that the sixth Guru, along with hundreds of others, was held as a political prisoner by the Mughals, despite being otherwise innocent of any crime. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir met with the Guru Such was the debt the emperor owed Guru Har Gobind Ji. He agreed to release the Guruji, but our Guruji refused. He refused to accept unless the emperor also released the 52 kings along with him. The emperor was at first very reluctant, but agreed to letting any prisoner free who could hold onto the Guru's cloak, thinking it would put a serious limit on the number. However, the Guru outsmarted the emperor by creating a cloak made of 52 tails so that all the Rajas could hold on and walk to freedom with him. Guru Har Gobind Ji was always seen wearing two swords, one which represented Miri, temporal power, and the other, Piri, spiritual authority. While the Guruji was imprisoned in the Gwalior fort, many Sikhs visited him and performed Nagar Kirtan outside the prison walls. Hence, Diwali is celebrated by the Sikhs in this manner even today. When Guruji first reached Gwalior fort, he saw all these kings who were so used to living a life in the lap of luxury, now living in such deplorable conditions that they had lost their zest for life. Well, the Guruji taught the kings that there is difference between being in prison and being a prisoner. He would hold meditation sessions and participate along with them. Guruji showed them unconditional love. He taught us an important lesson on what one can achieve when we keep our minds connected with the source and perform our daily tasks under its guidance. I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier. It was the same Emperor Jahangir who gave the orders to brutally kill Guru Arjan Dev Ji, our fifth Guru, and also the father of Guru Har Gobind Ji. And despite everything, the Guruji saved the emperor's life. Diwali for Sikhs is a celebration of freedom. Freedom from oppression, in particular. Well, in today's day and age, when everybody is talking about mental health, if we are able to help our neighbors find peace of mind, that will be true Diwali for me. We sense of community, a sense of family, and a sense of belonging. Knowing that I have so much love to offer, and that I too am loved and conditioned. Dr. Shah asked me how qualities like austerity, simplicity, serenity, equanimity, calmness, charity, philanthropy, togetherness are valued during these celebrations. In my humble opinion, it radiates in every word that I have said, as well as how our Guru has taught us to lead our lives. But I will let the audience decide for themselves. I hope you all have a very, very happy Diwali and a happy Bandi Children. Thank you and stay blessed.
Anu, thank you so much. In spite of difficulties, you sent this video and it was really beautiful to watch. She is a member of the Sikh community and lives on Long Island with her husband and 2 sons. So now we will watch this 2 to 3 minutes of video from Brahma Kumari. Marge cannot hear.
We all enjoy out of the whole year. And what does Diwali actually mean for me today? There's lots of different stories of Sri Rama coming back from his period of exile and the citizens of Ayodhya celebrating with the illuminations and the lights. There's also the worship of Sri Lakshmi. Many different things happen, but essentially what we are celebrating is the victory of goodness, the victory of light over the forces of negativity and darkness. So I think it's very, very applicable at this particular moment in human history when we see 2 very powerful energies come together. There's a descending energy, and we're all very much aware of that. And then there's the ascending energy of goodness, of light, and of joy. And so the celebration is to recognize that there will always be victory for that which is good and pure and sacred. So Diwali brings a message of great hope for all of us today, because we sometimes wonder, how long is this period of darkness going to last? No, it won't last for much longer. All I have to do personally is let the soul be ignited with love for the One, love for the Supreme, and to be able to experience the sacred connection that binds us all together, not just with a limited family of 4 or 6 individuals, or not even an extended family of 25 or 70 people, but in fact, the whole world is my family, because the creator of the world, the Supreme, is our mother and our father. So let's celebrate Diwali by igniting the flame of God's love in our hearts, and together let's celebrate with great joy and happiness and share that love and happiness with absolutely everyone we meet.
Mr. Eric Larson. Marge, you see him? I don't see him.
He was here.
Oh, here he is. So Mr. Eric Larson is from Brahma Kumari. He has been involved with Brahma Kumari for over 35 years and is a director of the Brahma Kumari World Spiritual Organization. He has a background in civil engineering and experienced in property laws control for over 30 years. Mr. Larson blends the very practical with the very spiritual to achieve a common sense way to look at life and help others. And when it came to Diwali, Mr. Larson and we discussed about, and he's going to explain to us more about the two different energies that we saw in the video, descending and ascending. He will also elaborate on what it means to be ignited with the love for the one, the Supreme. And lastly, why there is a belief that there will be victory for the good, pure, or sacred. Eric, please.
Thank you, Dr. Panasha, and thank you all for participating in this celebration of Diwali. For me, my experience is not from birth, but I learned about it in another way. And I kind of have that sense that Diwali is a combination of things. It is a little bit of New Year's, it's a little bit of Christmas, and it's a little bit of 4th of July. There's a lot of celebration, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of family, there's a lot of color. And however you would like to celebrate, it seems to embody all that for me. So I hope you are all in a celebratory mood right now, because as it's been talked about, there's different types of energies, the light over darkness, and we'd like you to think of those as energies and what is in your life at this time. And knowledge over darkness, good over evil, all of those are conflicting. All of those are differences. All of those are extremes. And so some takes us down and some takes us up. And the descending energies, as was described, have that heaviness, embodiments of Ravan and negativity, vice, anger, lust, greed, attachment. Those are not our natural state. Those are influences. Those something that is something that has come into us. And so that takes us down, takes us away, takes us farther from our true self, is how I understand and try to apply. And therefore the opposite would be the ascending energies. And when we recognize how we can be, what our true nature is, what is best for us, then we lighten our load. Then we start to remove that burden that can be carried, and we ascend. And so the more we see ourselves as, for the Brahma Kumaris, spiritual beings, souls, using the physical body, the more that we can let go of the false ideas that we carry around. We are originally pure beings, peaceful, loving. And when we hold that thought and when we practice that, and that's where some of those qualities of serenity and equanimity come in, when we can have a stable mind and see ourselves in that true form, we ascend, we move higher, we move away from the falsehoods that trouble us. And there's a lot of trouble in the world at these times. Part of the questions that was brought up is, well, what does it mean to be ignited? And for us, the diya is a wonderful example. Oftentimes I have seen that they are handmade. I don't know if anybody's going to make any this time, but out of clay or earth. They're earthenware lamps, which is different than candles, but they have some ghee or butter or oil, however you want to do it, with a little wick. And for us, that interpretation is that we are spiritual beings, soul in body. And we're not soul with body, but we are soul in a body. And when we recognize that, the light comes when we have this understanding of ourselves again, when we have this truth, when they have this experience that who I truly am, an eternal being, and for me, a child of God. And so having that is the ignited part. When I see myself as this being and I remember who I truly am, then it's like that diya, that light, that knowledge, that kind of spark brings that new ascending energy, which Diwali is a celebration of. And so the diyas, the lights, the returning of that. And for us in the Brahma Kumaris, there's that awareness that this isn't a hope, but it is a reality, that we have had that experience. And so Diwali is the celebration of the memory of us overcoming, and having that experience of being together as community, as a world family, where there is only that ascendant energy, peace, love, happiness, community. And that it is the time for us to recognize that we have to reclaim that. We have to bring that back, that is the part that we have. We are returning home. We are reclaiming our original awareness. We are spiritual beings who are letting go of the influences of the physical, the negativity, the embodiment of Ravan. And when we remove his head, we will remove the influence that has caused us to descend. Will we have that? Yes. I believe that there will be victory and that there will be the light, the knowledge over darkness, that we will not be unaware of ourselves, that we will reclaim that spiritual knowledge and we will move into that. And obviously that's the good over the evil. So hope that addresses and brings another perspective into this wonderful celebration of Diwali and the beautiful things that many of us are saying. So thank you again, Dr. Panasha, for having us.
That was extremely well described, Eric. Could continue hearing it for a long time. Now we have invited 4 other faiths to share with us what are the themes that are represented in today's Diwali celebration: good over evil, light over darkness. Those themes, how are they represented in their religion, their faith? And the first one, I like to invite Reverend Mark Lukens from Christian religion. Reverend?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Look, I know I only have 2 minutes, but I do want to say with at least a few seconds what a wonderful presentation this has been and how just fascinating it has been. So thank you very much. I'm so honored to be part of it. And I would say also that this is we have a little bit of a controversy going on in some aspects of the Christian church over these motifs, particularly of the light and the darkness, although they are central to us. And unfortunately, that's most has to do with some of our grappling with the legacy of racism in our society. And so the darkness and how that has been used at times to reflect on people rather than on the actual themes of the religion. So that is something that now many parts of the church are thinking about in terms of how we express these things in a context where certain ideas have become toxic in a sense, or have come to misrepresent what they were really about. But these themes we have about light in particular, and a reference to light in Christianity are very central motifs, particularly in the Gospel of John, which is one of the premier doctrinal writings. The very beginning of John says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. It culminates by saying, and it was the coming of the light that the darkness cannot overcome. And so in Christianity, which is of course centered around the personhood of Jesus and the teachings of Jesus, Jesus is often used synonymously with the idea of the light. And also the idea of wisdom as well, wisdom over ignorance. And part of that was in service of how the early people of the church were reinterpreting their roots as religious roots and bringing in other influences like Greek philosophy and that sort of thing. There's many writings in the epistles, the letters to the early churches, that refer to the contrast between the children of light and the children of darkness. But I think the culminating event of Christianity is very much about and is described very much as the triumph of light over darkness, which of course is the darkness comes with the crucifixion of Christ on what we call Good Friday. And then on the third day, with the dawn comes the new light. And it is referred to as that. The coming of the light to destroy the darkness, and then it is shown also as synonymous light and life. So Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But in another place, he says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. And then, of course, long before the cross was the symbol of Christianity, which happened hundreds of years after Jesus, the rising sun was the symbol of Christianity. And so early Christians used to wear around their neck a scallop shell, which symbolized the rising sun. And it was a very deliberate play on the words, the light, because as it says, the light that was coming into the world that the darkness could not overcome. To Christians, that's seen as the fulfillment of the promise of the coming of the Messiah, which means that ultimately, I saw this very much in what Eric Larson was saying from his perspective. We live by the idea that these things are not necessarily hopes, but they are rather fulfilled, and the kingdom, the ultimate hope, the salvation comes when we embrace and accept and live these things.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Next one we have from Judaism, Rabbi Randy Scheinberg. Rabbi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah, and thank you, all of you. I echo what the Reverend just said. It is such a delight, such sheer delight to be here to learn myself more about Diwali and really to participate in what I feel very much on this call is the bringing of light together, each of us, and to the world. So it's quite an honor. So I was asked as well to spend just 2 minutes sharing some Jewish views that reflect on some of the themes of Diwali. So I'm going to try to speak quickly and simply. So the themes, not surprisingly, appear in many different religions. I wanted to just highlight a few things. In Judaism, the Torah is our source of wisdom and knowledge, and we describe it in Hebrew as Torah Ora, which is the Torah of light. And so their light is associated with knowledge and with learning. And indeed, every Jewish sanctuary has over its ark a light that shines all the time. It is called a Ner Tamid, an eternal presence, eternal light. And that light symbolizes the holy presence, the knowledge, the hope, and the faith that are contained both in the Torah and in the community. Many of our holidays deal with light. I'll start with the one that happens most frequently with it, which is Shabbat, which is once a week. We kindle candles at the beginning of this holy festival of Shabbat, our sacred time. And we also kindle a candle, a interweaved braided candle at its conclusion, at Havdalah. And at each time we celebrate light. Light comes into us to feel that sense of holiness as we rest and are refreshed. And then we separate out into our separate areas, but still hold on to that light as our challenge to bring that light into the everyday and into the mundane. We do have a festival that is known as the Festival of Light as well, which I think is relevant here, not just for the light theme, but because of some of the other themes that have been said. And that festival is Hanukkah. It often takes place around the time of Christmas, but interestingly this year, it begins at the end of Thanksgiving, so not so far away from Diwali. But this is a festival where, among other things, we celebrate freedom from religious persecution, which is something that I think many of us here understand in our own traditions and appreciate the value of. And one of the stories, the myths that we tell about this holiday, this festival of Hanukkah, is that when the Jews were able to reclaim possession of their great temple, they needed to dedicate it. And to do so, they needed to take a cruse of oil, of olive oil, pure olive oil, and burn it for 8 days as the celebration continued. But they only found one little vial of oil, and it was not clear that that could last more than a few hours. The decision was made to light it anyway, and then the miracle was that it lasted for the full and needed 8 days. And so what we do today to symbolize this holiday of Hanukkah is we light a menorah, Chanukiah technically, which is 8 branches of 8 candles plus 1 to light it with. And each night we add 1 additional candle. And that, that increase of light symbolizes our hope and our faith and our joy. And I think that it just visually, watching the light grow, brings up that sense of joy and brings up that sense of hope. I wanted to add and maybe end with just one other piece, which is from the Jewish mystical tradition, which connects very much with what so many of the presenters have said. But it's this, there is an idea of creation, as was mentioned before in the Jewish tradition in the Torah, that talks about light and darkness, and God sees the light and the light is good, not by the way that the darkness is evil, but that the light itself is good. But the Kabbalistic tradition says that that pure light of God, of holiness, came into the world and was brought into these vessels. But the light was so strong that the vessels could not hold all of that flow. So they shattered, and that scattered the light everywhere. And so our job is to find those sparks, those holy sparks of light wherever we go, and to lift them up. And indeed, it is said that each one of us contains at least one of those sparks. We have a neshama, or a soul, that is filled with light. And when we can come together, all the more so, when we share them, when we lift up those sparks, when we join together joyously and with peace and shalom, then that light shines brightly. One line from our Psalms, Ki imcha makor chayim, orcha nireh or, which means with you is the source of life. In your light, in the light of holiness, we are all light, and we are able to see the light. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I never heard this particular narration. Next one we have from Islam, Imam Khalid Latif.
Yes, I just had to take it off mute. Peace be unto you all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Peace be unto you all. Yeah, just some brief verses from the Holy Quran that deal with light and dark. And from the information that you've sent me, Panna, regarding Diwali, I learned that Diwali symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And Islam in the Holy Quran also addresses light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. In Surah 4, the women, it reads, O mankind, verily there hath come to you a convincing proof from your Lord, for we have sent unto you a light that is manifest. In Surah 57, the iron, it reads, He, God, is the one who sends to his servants manifest signs, that he may lead you from the depths of darkness into the light. And verily God is to you most kind and merciful. And in Surah 65, the divorce, Allah revealed in verse 11, a messenger who rehearses to you the signs of God containing clear explanations, that he may lead forth those who believe and do righteous deeds from the depths of darkness into light. And those who believe in God and who work righteousness, he will admit to gardens beneath which rivers flow, to dwell therein forever. God has indeed granted for them a most excellent provision. And I would like to recite the next surah, which is the dawn from the Holy Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul a'udhu birabbil falak, min sharri ma khalaq, wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab, wa min sharri nafathati fil 'uqad, wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. And the translation is, with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the dawn, from the mischief of created things, from the mischief of darkness as it overspreads, from the mischief of those who practice secret arts, and from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy. And in my commentary, I say the dawn is the dawn of knowledge, enlightenment, God's insights, the revelations. Darkness overspreads as the spread of ignorance and evil. Those who practice secret arts are those who study and acquire knowledge of the mind that allows them to control others in the human family. And finally, the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy, as God has shown us from the beginning of time as Cain slew his brother Abel. And then the Quran talks about in the beginning of time, there was Satan, Shaitan, in the form of the jinn. Jinn is an unseen negative influence in the human being and in human life. When you become Iblis, which is the next stage, you take on thinking that conflicts with the excellence that God has clocked into our nature. You see yourself as superior to God's good people. You think your intelligence makes you superior. And then you move from that Iblis, that unnatural thinking, to the final stage, which we call Satan, Shaitan. You are in opposition to God's way. You create influences to turn people away from God, away from the natural way of life that God inspires the human being to live in. And then finally, I would like to read from the Quran, the Shaitan. I just wanted to comment, that the Quran says that Satan or Shaitan is the rejecter, the persistent rebel, the arrogant, the meanest of creatures, an evil spirit accursed. And the Quran says that Shaitan makes wrong seem right, has a seductive voice that leads one astray, and is a deceiver. He establishes a path of living that is shameful and wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. Now let us bring Harriet Fishman from Baha'i. Harriet.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. I want to thank everyone for this wonderful presentation and participation, and especially because Baha'u'llah, the Divine Messenger, says for this day, we are one family. So this is an opportunity to get to know my family better. Regarding a good over evil, we understand that evil is not a separate force. One thing may be evil in relation to another, but not evil within itself. All the forces and faculties within us are God-given and thus potentially beneficial to our spiritual development. In the same way, we deny the existence of Satan, a devil, or an evil force. Evil, it is explained, is the absence of good. Darkness is the absence of light. Cold is the absence of heat. And how, we might ask, can human beings develop more fully their spiritual capacities? We believe that the root cause of wrongdoing is ignorance, and we must therefore hold fast to the tools of perception and knowledge. Good character must be taught. We realize that every child is potentially the light of the world and at the same time its darkness. Wherefore must the question of education be accounted as of primary importance. From his infancy, the child must be nursed at the breast of God's love and nurtured in the embrace of his knowledge that he may radiate light, grow in spirituality, be filled with wisdom and learning, and take on the characteristics of the angelic host. And so many of the writings talk about this goodness that has to overcome light, all the themes that are discussed in Diwali. We can all testify to the many struggles, pain, and despair humanity is going through at the present. However, we are filled with hope, promising that it is a process that will ultimately lead to unity. And I quote, "Chaos and confusion are daily increasing in the world. They will attain such intensity as to render the frame of mankind unable to bear them. Then will men be awakened and become aware that religion is the impregnable stronghold and the manifest light of the world, and its laws, exhortations, and teachings, the source of life on earth." Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harriet. It is beautiful to hear Harriet and Imam, since we have worked together for many, many years in interfaith activity. Finally, we have the evolution of religious festivals. I like to invite Dr. Jainaben Clark. She's a Jainaben.
Yeah, hello.
Okay. She is a retired professor with specialization in literature, religion, and international studies. Her focus has been on the paradigm shift in thinking for global harmony. This global harmony is accelerating the evolution of higher awareness everywhere, reflecting in her mantra, "Let's celebrate our differences so we can enjoy our oneness." Jainaben, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Panna. Okay. I'm trying to get out of this now.
No, you're fine.
And I'm seeing something else. Anyway, I
Okay.
can't see.
All right.
You sure? I think I have to. I'm good. I'm getting my first screen and I don't know how to get out of that. Anyway, let me. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Worldwide agricultural communities. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of getting out of this. I'm seeing something else. Wait a minute. Well, anyway, I've been sitting here changing my presentation, as it were, but it's now showing me something different on my screen, and I'm.
Okay, allow me to share. You can then just speak to it.
Okay. But on my screen there is something else. So can I go back to my own? Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, I got it.
Yes, it's.
Yes.
I'm
Thank you.
displaying it now. Now you may just speak to it.
Okay. This is. I mean, as we heard, people from different religions presenting their views, it seemed like we are all talking about the same thing and similar symbols and similar struggle between light and darkness, good and evil. And I started thinking, like, how did it all begin? But there are some other similarities, not only this, but there is this kind of our agricultural communication agricultural communities that started working on all these festivals are connected with the spring and autumn. And that was something that became very clear, that adoration of gods and goddesses. I think you are going too fast, and I don't know how to go for this whole thing myself. Maybe I can control it now.
I apologize. I heard you talk about spring and I moved forward to the slide that was on spring. We're on adoration, so please continue.
Yeah, adoration of nature for protection and plenty evolved as a worship of the stars, earth, oceans, rivers, forests, winds, thunders as gods and goddesses. And to these stories of gods and goddesses were added stories of historical characters. Just can you stop there, please? Gods, goddesses, nature blended with the conquest of historical and mythical and spiritual figures. Their days of birth and victory, enlightenment celebrated as festivals of light, victory of light over darkness, good over evil, all over the world, spring and autumn. So there will be this plentifulness and then coming out of this autumn as yeah, can you go to the next one, please? I'm going to, yes, the next. Could you move, please? Yeah, okay. Now the spring and autumn celebrations, rituals, prayers, feasting, fasting, dancing, charitable, yes, sure. Now, all these kind of celebrations that were described, could you stop, please? Okay. Yeah, right there. Now, these are the spring and autumn festivals in different parts of the world. In South Asia, there are Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all religions in South Asia. Then Holi and Diwali, and I use different colors for Holi and Diwali, the spring and autumn. And you can see they are all about the same time and connected with their heroes. Next, please. Now it's the Middle East, and you will see Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They are all Middle Eastern religions, and they have this similar festivals that are also spring and autumn everywhere. And then they often change the dates of their spiritual and political leaders to suit the seasons, because we know the date of Jesus's birth, for example, is connected with the solstice, and you find that is the longest night and then the beginning of the new day. Anyway, so that is similar kind of pattern, and I don't want to repeat it. You all can recognize these festivals. Again, you are in the spring and autumn. And then East Asia, you go to Shinto and Taoism and Buddhism that now has spread from India to the far eastern countries. They all are also connected with this, and I'll name this Taoism and Shintoism and spring and autumn festivals. Now, could you go to the next, please? And then you have in the seasonal celebrations of indigenous people all over the world that were, of course, in North and South America, Africa, Australia. You have all traditions of native people. They're all also connected with their spring and autumn. Of course, they were all then politicized by the Christianity took over. So they're mainly Christian things, and those indigenous traditions are now being revived all over the world. Again, there is this connection with the nature that has become the driving force of our festivals. And that is what I've found that so like, just keep the last slide, please. So now it is becoming the modern seasonal global celebrations, families gathering and feasting, community festivals, intercultural bonding, and social internship, humanitarian activism, all these things are getting together. And as it were, because we are all one family, as the Sanskrit verse says, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a whole family. And that is what we are celebrating. And I think that's why there are so many similarities. And that is the future of our mankind, that we would be a humankind that we are leading to. Thank you.
That was really excellent, Jaina Ben. And with that, our Diwali celebration comes to an end, and we have an honor to bring this next equally dynamic celebration. That is, each year IFI offer an award for an outstanding accomplishment by an individual, and today's recipient is Mr. Buyan, who is with us. And I would like to invite Dr. Uni Mupan to begin that honor. Dr. Mupan.
Good day, everybody. The Interfaith Institute of Long Island of New York is extremely pleased as well as proud to present the 2021 annual award to Brother Rais Buyan. He needs no introduction at all. If you go to the internet, just type in the word Rais Buyan and you will know all about this amazing person. He is unique in the sense that I don't know anyone else who spent all the time and energy to save the life of a person who tried to kill him, after killing 2 others due to hatred. Brother Buyan was born in Bangladesh in 1973. He served Bangladesh Air Force for a brief period and then came to New York for studying computer technology. Then he moved to Texas. His life turned upside down after September 11 terrorist attack. Mark Anthony Stroman, a white supremacist, wanted to take revenge for September 11 by killing foreigners or foreign-looking people. He killed a Pakistani Muslim and an Indian Hindu. Then he went to the store where Mr. Buyan was working and point blank shot at his face. After many surgical procedures, although his eye was saved, the vision from that eye was permanently lost. He needed many more surgical procedures to remove all the pellets from his face. After this life-threatening ordeal, what followed was a shocking event to the world. Brother Buyan started a movement known as World Without Hate and started to work to save the life of Mr. Stroman. Mr. Stroman had been sentenced to death for all the crimes, including the 2 murders he had committed. In spite of all the efforts of Mr. Buyan, Mr. Stroman was executed after the last appeal to the Federal Appeal Court was lost. Before the execution, both of them spoke over the phone. Mr. Stroman responded to Mr. Buyan's sentence of forgiving him for his attempted murder. Mr. Stroman responded, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, brother. You touch my heart." Finally, this award to Mr. Buyan, on a day we explained the celebration of Diwali, is a perfect symbolism. Success of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and good over evil. Now I request Marjane to play a small video on Mr. Buyan.
A white supremacist shot me in the face in the days following the September 11th attacks. I hit rock bottom. but I didn't give up on humanity. Eventually, I forgave and even befriended my assailant, who ultimately renounced his hateful views.
What if someone tried to kill you? If you
Lost. Actually.
Without him.
Dr. Mupan, please go ahead and start presenting the award.
I would like to show the plaque we are presenting to Mr. Bian. And also I will request Marjane to show the plaque over the screen so others can see in detail. It reads, the Interfaith Institute of Long Island, New York presents this 2021 annual award to Bryce Buyan in recognition of his extraordinary response to a hate crime by someone who attempted to murder him. He has dedicated his life to show that hatred can be defeated by forgiveness, love, and compassion. On this day, October 17, 2021. Now I'll request Dr. Khan to show a proclamation by Senator Kaplan to Brother Buyan. At the same time, Marjane can show the proclamation also so everyone else can see.
Thank you. Before I show you the proclamation, I wanted to recognize Sabira Samet. She is a member of Senator Kaplan's staff. She is attending the session. She has sent several messages on the chat room, and we welcome you. There's interesting, Senator Anna Kaplan, who represents the district in New York, in the New York State Senate, is also an immigrant, a refugee from Iran. She came as a child and she went on here and worked herself up and now represents us in the New York State Senate. And she has sent this beautiful proclamation, which will be mailed to Mr. Buyan, which basically highlights his contributions to society by the action that he has taken in overcoming hate with love and passion. And we are pleased that we are able to facilitate this exchange. Senator Kaplan couldn't be here in person, but you're seeing the plaque, which will be mailed to Mr. Buyan. Thank you.
At this time, I will request Brother Buyan to say a few words. Brother Buyan. He just texted me a few minutes back saying that he had logged in.
Do you know what email address did he use to come in? Because he's not on the panel. He may have just logged in with a different email address than the one we had for him. Ask him.
He just sent a text message which says that, can you hear me?
No, we cannot hear. Okay, hold on a second. Riaz Buyan, he may be on an attendee. Hold on a second. Let me see if he is.
He got a message from Zoom, and that's what he's using to log in.
Okay, he should be able to speak. Give me 1 second. Brother Buyan, are you, have you enabled your mic? Yes, he's on, but you are muted. I'm just sending you a message to unmute. Just click on that. Yeah, you will see you, but now unmute yourself. Good. Now you're on. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
Yes, it's all right. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mupen, for your kind introduction. My sincerest appreciation and thanks to the Interfaith Institute of Long Island for recognizing my work and the messages of forgiveness, empathy, and understanding in this way. I grew up in a devout Muslim middle-class family in Bangladesh. And growing up, I saw the plight of the poor, needy, and deprived, how they struggle each and every single day, desperate to live like a human being with dignity and respect. Though we were more fortunate, their pain and suffering deeply touched me, and I wanted to do whatever I could to help them. Feeding and giving the poor was a big part of our family's DNA. And I never imagined myself on the receiving end of mercy and giving until I was shot by a white supremacist 10 days after 9/11 terrorist attacks. I now know what it feels like to lose everything except for my life. I know what it feels like to be on the brink of death, pleading to God for a second chance. And from this experience, I have come to realize that the most precious things, the most precious gift we are given is life. And one of the most beautiful things in this world is to live and help others live too. On this day, celebrating Diwali, I echo its message of light over darkness, showing compassion during human suffering, regardless of the victims, by emphasizing that we have the power to turn negatives into positives, weaknesses into strength, ignorance into wisdom, fear into courage, and hate into love. Hate is a disease, and we must love and respect ourselves enough so that it cannot find it in our life. And while we must protect ourselves from this disease, we need to foster dialogue to promote love, mutual respect, understanding, and acceptance, especially with the people unlike us, to eradicate this virus from our society. We are living in a time where misinformation, lies, political and religious intolerance is spreading like a virus, causing tremendous pain and suffering here at home and around the world. It is our moral and religious duty to stand up for truth, unity, justice, creating a more equitable and accepting society. I applaud the work you all do through your organization, the Interfaith Institute of Long Island, to create a vibrant interfaith community as well, a better society for all. I truly believe the more we learn about the other and the more we do for others, the more the path of our own happiness and common good will open. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's a great honor to have you here and to host you here, and we do hope to hear from you in some of our future programmings. Light bulbs are going on in my head already. I'll be in touch.
I'm looking forward to that.
Brother Bian, when the pandemic is over, I'm sure you will be making a trip to New York and we'll see you and listen to you in person. We'll be honored to have you.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Fabulous program. I don't know if you're seeing the messages. If you see the messages on the chat line, it's great. And I'm happy to report we're still recording. We haven't run out of space. So it will be available for dissemination as soon as we adjourn. And thank you all the panelists, everyone, really. This was a fabulous program. And I'm sure it'll go wild once we put it out there to everyone else, people who couldn't make it.
Thank you, Marjane. Thank
you very much.
It's a difficult order. You did it very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, enjoy the afternoon. What's left?
Thank you, Panna. Thank you, Shah. And thank you all the panelists.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Anu. Have a safe drive back.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, Panna and all other attendees and everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Panna. Thank you, Dr. Khan. Thank you, Marjane. Thank you, everybody else. You all did very well. Thank you.